Your subconscious doesn't want you to change. In fact, it only wants to keep you safe. So if you have tried to change before but have not succeeded, I do understand you because I'm on that same path. And in today's video, I want to invite you in this thought-provoking and insightful conversation so that we can understand and go deeper into what identity shifting is, how it works, and whether it's a more effective approach to fulfilling our inner potential and experiencing the change that we really want from our lives. Hey there, my friend, I am Daniel from the Higher Consciousness channel, and I'm here to help you expand your awareness, step into higher consciousness, and fulfill your inner potential. Now, please don't perceive me as an expert who knows it all, because I truly don't. But I'm excited to share what I've found out on my journey and help you reach your own conclusions and have your own insights through following me on that journey. Here is what I've realized. We already know that we have a subconscious mind, don't we? Like this part of us that includes all of our feelings, all of our behavior, conscious and unconscious, all of our habits, all of our thought processes. And a lot of times on our personal development journey or in our spiritual growth journey, we try to change that subconscious mind. We try to reprogram it. We try to let go of all the traumas, all the limiting beliefs that we hold on to. In a way, we try to fix who we are and who we see ourselves to be unconsciously. But what if this doesn't work? Well, if you're on that video, you've most likely reached the same conclusion, haven't you? Because the subconscious mind, a lot of times, it only wants to keep us safe. What do I mean by that? It only wants to keep us safe. Well, let me share with you what I've uncovered. And let me know if this feels familiar, please. So, you probably have some dreams, some form of goal or a vision that you're pursuing, that you know is right for you, that you know is meaningful, you know that it's what your heart wants, but at the same time, it feels a little bit unfamiliar. And everything you try to do to move in that direction sometimes feels like a sabotage. Maybe you're procrastinating, maybe you are being critical of not doing enough. Maybe it's too much, maybe what you want is too much, and I am totally familiar with that idea. This is actually one of the limiting beliefs that have personally stopped me along my journey, that it is too much. So what tends to happen is that our subconscious mind, since it doesn't really want us to change, this is how we have evolved. Not that we are wrong by not wanting to change, not that there is something wrong. No, this is just how we have evolved. The nervous system, that more animalistic part of who we are, it prefers pleasure and runs away from pain. So it's only natural for that animalistic, instinct-driven, fear-based part of us to prefer what feels familiar and comfortable. This is only natural. Stay with me for a moment because I'll show you how maybe you're limiting yourself, how you're self-sabotaging yourself by not understanding how your subconscious operates. So what's happening? We have some dreams, we have goals, and we have visions. And then they seem as if they're less important, of less significance than our beliefs, conditioned belief systems, which sometimes are limiting, our conditioned thinking patterns, and our behaviors and habits. So maybe those habits are mindless scrolling. Maybe this is masturbation. Maybe this is watching Netflix. Maybe this is going out with people who you know don't support you on your journey, more of like toxic people who don't have similar values and don't share similar dreams to yours. And maybe this feels familiar. Maybe all of these patterns are there not because they're wrong per se, but because they just feel safe and predictable. And your subconscious always prefers what feels safe and predictable. Now the real question, knowing that this is the case, that subconsciously, even though consciously we want change, we want to experience our vision, we want to fulfill our dreams, this is consciously. Subconsciously, maybe you're conditioned to prefer what feels safe and predictable, which a lot of times is our old identity that is conditioned with all of its limiting beliefs, conditioned thinking behaviors, and habits. This is most of what makes our identity, our self-concept. So understanding that this is the case, then obviously the question pops up, what can I do about it? If the subconscious wants me safe, if everything that I'm doing to move in the direction of the fulfillment of my inner potential feels a disappointment at the end, because I've reached that state, I can tell you how many times on my journey, and if you've experienced something similar, it's fine, it's okay. It's all part of the human journey. So don't expect from yourself to be perfect, and don't be so harsh with yourself. It's okay, you can let go. Actually, now I want to make this distinction between identity shifting as an approach to personal transformation compared to changing yourself, which is in a way the more conditioned way of approaching change. It's basically what the personal development culture has told us about transformation and about change. So I want to distinguish between those two, because maybe it will be useful if you're able to acknowledge some of these unconscious programs that are running in yourself and they're keeping you stuck. Because if we know that the subconscious doesn't want you to change, then how can we reprogram that subconscious? Curious, isn't it? So let me show you what I've discovered. We have identity shifting on one side, which I believe is the more effective approach, and then we have changing yourself through force, through trying to do what feels uncomfortable, but with this kind of almost intrusive, detrimental, really forcing attitude, which feels heavy. On the other side, so we have identity shifting versus changing yourself through development, personal development, which is, by the way, it's natural, but that's a secret. We'll get into it in a moment. So maybe you have found yourself, caught yourself being critical, self-critical. You know that you need to do something, and you know that what you need to do is meaningful, it's important. And whenever you don't do it, what tends to happen? You should have done that. You should have spent your time more wisely. You should have been more productive. You are wasting your time. Why are you such a piece of shit? Are you familiar with that? This is what I mean by the subconscious doesn't want you to change. The path to self-development, to personal development, I believe it's actually a little bit toxic. It's a toxic culture, because we cannot change through fear-driven attitude to our own selves. Why? Think of it in this way. If you had a destructive parent who always inflicts pain to its own children, would those children trust the parent? Most likely not. They would want to run away. So if you have that same attitude to yourself, how do you expect to make a consistent, permanent change and shift? Hardly possible. That's why, on the other side, we have self-observation. Now you've heard that, you have read, you have listened courses, you have listened to other people, you know that we have this primordial awareness, completely detached from everything, that is just being there as the witnessing consciousness of whatever is happening. This awareness is impersonal, it's neutral. It doesn't judge nor criticize, nor does it condemn you. So this awareness only observes whatever is happening, only observes the fact. And this, I believe, is a better approach, is the identity shifting approach. So instead of being critical of yourself, what if you could try to observe who you are? And through self-observation, acknowledge whatever is happening. Your repetitive conditioned thinking, your repressed feelings that your body experiences, the behaviors that are reflected from those repressed feelings, that are a reflection of those repressed feelings, and all the habits that support them. So the path towards identity shifting is through self-observation, acknowledgement. Self-observation is neutral. It's impersonal. Acknowledgement, it comes from love. It comes from compassion. It comes from understanding. So it's not condemnational. It's not through judgment, which is the path to personal development, this personal development culture, which I believe is really biased. Then we have acknowledgement versus self-condemnation. So what do you believe is better approach? A lot of times, whenever you don't do what you have to do, you condemn yourself. I do too. This is human. It's natural. Instead of that, what if we could acknowledge, yes, this wasn't preferable. This bad habit that you indulged in, it wasn't preferable. But I understand that it comes from your conditioned human nature. So it's okay. I understand you. It's fine. Yet why did you do it? Why did you do it if we have a more important vision? And then you can talk to yourself in such a way. Through acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is not critical. It's not condemnating. You just acknowledge what is. You need to honor the present moment for that to be possible. Actually, I forgot. This is a challenge that I'm challenging myself right now for 3 days. So if you want to stay tuned for that challenge, it's basically one question that I keep asking myself like 20, 30, maybe, about 30 times per day. Am I at ease at that moment? Because that moment, it's impersonal. And this is a really powerful tool that you can take, and you can challenge yourself also if you want. So I'm persisting through that challenge for the next 3 days, and if you want to know the insights I had through going through that challenge, stay with me, follow that channel, because I'll make a video on that really soon. Now going back to identity shifting versus changing yourself. Identity shifting, it includes affirmation. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and my personal experience with personal development. I've been in these circles of personal development, a lot of friends around me who are into that. And all of them, I found that they're really forceful of themselves. They try to change themselves through almost hatred, almost this attitude of, you're fucking wasting your time, you're doing disgusting things, you shouldn't do that, I hate you. I don't believe it's possible. This is not, you cannot change yourself through self-hatred. You always reverse back. And in my personal life, along the last 5, 6, 8, I believe up to 7, 8 years so far in personal development, I've catch myself doing that many times and reversed back to what I didn't want, what wasn't preferable. Destructive habits, limiting beliefs, so on and so forth. And I've discovered that there is a more efficient approach. This approach is, instead of focusing on the faults and trying to change them through force, which is what personal development teaches us, affirming everything that I'm doing. Yes, you moved a little bit closer towards your dream. I'm proud of you, my man. It's beautiful. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for persisting through what you have said you must do. Or whenever I don't do it, that's fine too. I acknowledge your conditioning. I acknowledge your beliefs. It's okay. I understand you. Through compassion, I understand you. Yet you know what's meaningful, don't you? Why don't you move in that direction? So this approach of identity shifting, which happens through self-observation. Yes, this is what happened. This is fact. Acknowledgement. I acknowledge what you're doing. I see what's happening. That's fine. This is the approach of higher intelligence. And then affirmation, which comes from courage, from the state of courage. A lot of times we don't pursue what we know is meaningful because, again, it doesn't feel safe. So whenever we make, even if it's a little movement, a little action, a little deed in the direction of what we want, in the direction of our goals, vision, dreams, then we can affirm that. We can say, yes, my man, you did a great job. It's beautiful. I appreciate you so much. Because if you don't do that, then you do the opposite, which is whenever you don't move in the direction of your desire, of your purpose, vision, so on and so forth, You condemnate yourself, be critical, focus on the faults, try to fix them, which is the most destructive attitude you can have towards your own self. And you know, my friend, you know what's really curious? Well, whatever change or whatever shift you want to experience in your life, the one criteria which is always here is that you participate in that change. I participate in that change. I participate through shifting myself from who I was before to who I want to be right now. And then on another level, and another level, and another level. So if I don't have a loving attitude towards myself, how could that be persistent? How could the change be complete? Well, it can't. So going back to this distinction between identity shifting and changing yourself, the last point I have acknowledged is that instead of trying to fix what's wrong, which is what the personal development approach tries to do, you are so overweight, you're just procrastinating all the time, you are addicted to social media, you are masturbating, whatever negative habits you have. They are wrong, you need to change them. Instead of doing that, in your inner conversation, inner dialogue, you could let go. First, observe yourself, acknowledge what's happening, affirm the good acts you're doing, and acknowledge the not so good actions that you're doing, not so good decisions that you're making. And then you can simply let go. You can simply let go. Letting go, my friend, is just a decision. It's simply a, can I drop that? Can I drop that need to condemn myself, need to criticize, need to make that action, that habit wrong? Is it possible to just drop it? And then maybe you drop some tears and it will move and you will shift into something that's better. You don't have to give negative habits so much importance. It's okay. It is really okay. From that state of higher consciousness, expanded awareness, whatever you do is okay. In fact, more importantly, you can focus on why you do whatever you do instead of what you do. The why is always the more important part, because it's the intention that drives the action. And if you focus on the intention, that intention will drive actions that are meaningful. Maybe I'll make a video on that later, but this is just, I don't know, I just want to drop that here. So just to sum it up, if we compare changing yourself through force, personal development on one side, and then changing yourself through identity shifting, I know that I embody different versions of myself in any different moment. We have self-observation, acknowledgement, affirmation, letting go on the approach of identity shifting, and then on the other side we have self-criticism, self-condemnation, focusing on faults, trying to fix what's wrong on the other side. If we have those two, which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer, really? Well, I hope you come up with your own answer. But now I just want to end this video with two questions that maybe will make you think about that and help you come up with your own answers. What if negative experiences, whatever they are, really, like whatever you see as negative, what if negative experiences were simply a byproduct from your conditioning? Because ultimately you have the freedom to choose. Everybody does. In that moment, right now, here, as I am conscious and present, I can choose whatever I want. Back then, in your childhood upbringing, in your conditioning, when you were just a baby, you didn't have as much choice. So that's okay. And if that's the case, and if it's okay, what if doing something negative, a negative experience which has the intention to keep you safe, what if it is just a byproduct from your conditioning? Why give it any more importance? Why make it an end of the world situation? It's fine. Whenever you go into a negative habit, I don't mean that you should indulge into it. But if it happens, it's fine. You can let go. So what if negative experiences were just a byproduct from your conditioning? What if you had the courage, understanding, and consciousness to perceive them that way? And then the other question, What if you are already doing the best that you are capable of at that moment in time? Because you're in that progression. You can see your life journey as a progression. It goes for however long it goes, for however long you will be living. You're going through that progression and that internal transformation that you experience. So knowing that this is already the case, maybe you can have greater faith. Maybe you can have greater trust. What if you are already doing the best that you are capable of? And more importantly, what if you could acknowledge that more frequently? Just give yourself permission to tap yourself on the back, pat yourself on the back. You're doing great, man. Really, you're doing great. And yeah, maybe if you want to challenge yourself again, keep that question in mind. Am I at ease at that moment? Or am I identified with this background static of self-criticism, condemnation, focusing on the faults, trying to chase and fix whatever is wrong, trying to chase whatever I want because I don't want to accept whatever is wrong right now. A lot of times this is what happens. This question, you can maybe keep it in your mind and see what happens if you just drop it. Don't expect an answer, but see what you can recognize, become aware of for your own self. This is what I wanted to share with this video. This is why your subconscious doesn't want you to change. But if that's the case, you can observe, acknowledge, affirm, and let go. And then your subconscious will become your friend instead of being your enemy. Thank you so much for watching, my friend. I really hope you find this video useful, valuable. Now, if that's the case, like it, comment below, share it with some friends if such a friend pops into your mind, because this is how you can support me in growing my channel, in pursuing through that vision. I appreciate you so much for staying with me, and I'll see you around in the channel. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.